control it here on the phone. Okay, jesteśmy już na żywo, tak przynajmniej tutaj widzę. Witam wszystkich bardzo serdecznie na organowych rozmowach. Dzisiaj wyjątkowe organowe rozmowy z wyjątkowym gościem. Widzę tutaj, że 8 osób nas ogląda. Jeśli tak rzeczywiście jest, to bardzo Was proszę, żebyście zostawili komentarz, czy nas widzicie i czy nas słyszycie. Kiedy dostanę informację zwrotną, że wszystko działa, to będę mogła spokojnie wszystkich przywitać i rozpocząć dzisiejsze spotkanie. Okej. Momencik, zobaczmy, czy ktoś tutaj coś pisze. Dzień dobry, widać i słychać. Okej, w takim razie możemy zaczynać. Jeszcze raz dobry wieczór, witam wszystkich bardzo serdecznie i witam przede wszystkim gościa specjalnego. Dzisiaj jest z nami Zuzana Ferjenčikowa. Witaj.
Dobry wieczór.
Zuzana jest wyjątkowym gościem, słowacką organistką, która mieszka w Szwajcarii, a pracuje w Codarts w Rotterdamie i jesteśmy od kilku lat w kontakcie, w przyjaźni. Zuzana grała kilka razy w Świdnicy, spotkałyśmy się także w innych miejscach. Dzisiaj zaprosiłam ją, żeby porozmawiać o najnowszym projekcie, a naszym językiem, w którym się porozumiewamy najlepiej, jest angielski. Próbowałyśmy kilka razy rozmawiać po polsku-słowacku, ale do pewnego momentu rozumiemy się, a jak już coś trzeba powiedzieć precyzyjnie, to jest to trudne, prawda?
Prawda.
Dlatego dzisiaj, wybaczcie, polskojęzyczni obserwujący, będziemy rozmawiać po angielsku. Mam nadzieję, że dołączą do nas też goście zagraniczni. Jeśli będą jakieś pytania, bardzo proszę zadawać pytania. Postaramy się na nie odpowiedzieć pod koniec dzisiejszego spotkania. So now, welcome everyone. Hello, I'm very happy to be here and to have a special guest with us tonight, Zuzana Ferjenčikowa, concert organist. She is from Slovakia, she lives in Switzerland and works in Codarts in Rotterdam. We will speak English today, although Poland and Slovakia is not far away and our languages are quite similar, but when we try to speak precise, it doesn't really work, so we will try today to speak English. We know also that our English is not perfect, but we understand each other, so I hope that you will also understand us. If there would be some questions, then please comment below and we will try to answer your questions at the end of our conversation, so about in 40 minutes, I would say. So, welcome, Zuzana. I'm very happy to have you here.
Thank you very much. I'm also happy to see you.
I have written down 4 main questions that I would like to ask you tonight. I would like to talk about your music and about the latest project, about the CD with symphonic poems. I'm very happy that you have recorded this amazing music at the beginning of November. I remember this time I was thinking every day how it's going. It was 7 days of work, yes? 7 nights?
No, it was 5 nights recordings and 1 night of preparation of registrations and fixing microphones and rehearsals, everything what is needed to have the, so to say, perfect sound on the organ.
Okay. So I would like to ask you about the CD repertoire. What music have you chosen and why?
Good question. Well, I have chosen the music of my teacher, GUILLOU, because the project was actually to do it on his own organ, which is the wonderful Van den Heuvel extraordinary instrument in Saint-Eustache. it is the biggest instrument of Van den Heuvel with 5 keyboards and wonderful sonority, which is very, very special. And this organ will be probably changed a little bit, repaired, and I wanted to have experienced still the same sound, so to say, which Zhang Guillou knew and which was so close to him and due to his music. So before this renovation, we wanted with the German label Aeolus to make it sure that this sound will still be recorded. Well, maybe it's an emotional reason because it will probably be very good anyhow, but I just wanted to have this same feeling like it always was with masterclasses, with our concerts which we played together with Zhang Guillou there, or when I played alone, or when we listened to him as students. Yeah, it was an extraordinary feeling. So that's why this instrument and this music on it. And then I always saw in Zhang Guillou kind of Franz Liszt of the modern time. Maybe it's strange, but I don't know, he really looked similar, but certainly there were some similarities. He was very generous, exactly as Franz Liszt was to his pupils, always. Very kind, very open, very intellectual. He wrote very nicely. I have a small example, maybe you can see. You know, this kind of handwriting you cannot see so often nowadays. And it is, of course, also a little bit similar to Franz Liszt. And, but the most important, beside this, for me, is that he was really a very post-romantic composer. He was not modern, as some people say, in the direction that he would just create something completely new. This is not the case. His music is very deeply romantic. And that's why I was thinking, okay, I will put this together, these two words, like the Liszt, the absolute genius of the 19th century, and the absolute genius of the 20th century, which is Zhang Guillou, and I will put these two words together, and to show how close it is and how extraordinarily beautiful it is. Because in the music of Zhang Guillou, you find the same kind of work with the music. He creates incredible melody. Like you can compare the beginning of Eloge, which is just a singing melody, beautiful in unisono on flute 4. And if you compare it with the theme of Orpheus of Franz Liszt, it's almost the same character, almost the same atmosphere. And the development is also almost the same, on a huge crescendo, and then decrescendo with beautiful voix celeste and a kind of passacaria at the end with crescendo and again decrescendo. It's so romantic, like the romantic orchestra would be. So it reminded me always on the music of Liszt, and that's why I decided to put it together, not to oppose it, but to combine it like it belongs together, these two words. Yeah.
This is very, very interesting, a very beautiful idea. For me, it's really something special and also new, because before I met you, I only heard about Zhang Guillou that he was a very eccentric personality. And this is what you usually hear. And
yeah.
I didn't hear about him as a post-romantic personality.
Well, he was, what does it mean? Well, he was extrovert, of course. He was like artists usually are somehow, because otherwise we couldn't play concerts probably. And if we are not able to give everything from inside. And but I think he was not well, some people call him like star, and he did only extraordinary stuff and very special and very strange. This is not the case. I think he was a very modest person. Well, I don't think, I know it. He was a very modest person, very close to himself. So he did only what he absolutely believed. in. And this is what I honestly miss with a lot of musicians nowadays who are certainly very great, very, very great, sometimes unbelievably great. But sometimes I just miss a little bit this extraordinary will to tell something, which only the person can tell. If it's extraversion, I don't know. I don't think so, because he was just true. He just did what he really believed in. And how it looks like, it's not really interesting, you know. The most important is if it is true and if it is real, if it is real music. And then I really have to say, I rarely met more modest person than him. Yeah.
And tell me, please, about music of Liszt, and what do you like in the music of Franz Liszt?
Oh, a lot. Everything. No. Well, his music is really I sometimes say there is nothing in this music which wouldn't be in life of person. I don't know if it is clear, but like you find everything what you experience in the life of a human being in this music. Well, he went through a lot of things. Like he lost 2 children. He was dreaming about a completely different life than he had afterwards. And anyhow, he was able to create such a beauty. Well, it touched me a lot, simply. Because it is there. You can find every emotion there, every kind of feeling, every human experience. And not only this, but from the musical point of view, he created like sonata in B minor. I mean, there is probably no other composition in the whole 19th century which would not be such a stone on which everything could start in the 19th century. I mean, he started to compose a sonata which was like never heard before. And the same with the big organ fantasy, Ad nos ad salutarem undam. I mean, it was not heard before, something like this, 30 minutes of organ music in a huge sonata form. Absolute nonsense, no way in this time. And this combined with what I told before, with this emotional worth which is inside, I think there are not so many composers who would fascinate me so much. Well, except Zhang Guillou.
Okay, you mentioned the B minor sonata, and I remember we were talking about it because there is some organists that like very much to play it on organ, and you are also a pianist, so you can compare what's the difference. And I know you told me a bit about what you think about it, but I think it's interesting also for others. What do you think about this organ piano stuff? Like, what's the main difference for you between the organ and the piano? And is it possible to play everything what you play on the piano on the organ?
Good question. Because I love piano, it's my first instrument, and I couldn't live without it. It's really necessary. It's like drinking water for me. But I also try, that's the second thought, I also try to translate the piano touch to the organ. So I really believe that what is possible on the piano is possible on the organ. So I really try to create the sonority with touch and with dynamics, even though physically it's not possible, of course. We know it all. But anyhow, with timing, with touch, with listening to the organ, what is really sounding now, it is possible. I am convinced about this. And not only me, well, there are several great players who believe the same. And I think the piano sound, this what we miss on the organ, the dynamics of the sonority, can be created when we work on piano and partially when we play the piano music on organ. So that's why I also understand Franz Liszt, because he did himself. He did several transcriptions with help of other colleagues, organists, of course. But he did, for example, of Orpheus, what I taught before, the symphonic poem, or other pieces. He did also an organ version, because I think he believed also in this instrument, in the beauty and dynamics of this instrument. So it is very well possible. The question is always, how far do we go? And what is really good? Like, we see that, for example, with Orpheus, it was clear for Liszt himself. He did. With sonata, I am probably very much, I have too much respect in front of this piece. For me, this piece is a universe which is just absolutely unique. And for me, it is the piece which created the whole 19th century. From his form, from his extraordinary work of theme, from everything. Everybody, from all the composers, looked to this sonata. Not only Röpke. We know that Röpke composed the organ sonata because he knew B minor sonata. And but not only him, it would be too narrow from the organist, but all composers, Schumann, Mendelssohn, everyone, Brahms, later Prokofiev, everybody was looking to this sonata. So for me, it is a universe. And I know that there are very good transcriptions, but for me personally, I need piano. I cannot imagine this piece on organ. I'm so sorry for colleagues, organists who did it. I really appreciate it, and I think it sounds very, very well. But this universe was created for this very special instrument. And I think there are pieces which are, for me, like not touchable. I don't touch them. They are so connected to the instrument that, well, I am not able, but it doesn't mean that it are not good transcriptions. I appreciate them very much, and I know some of them which are really fantastic and sound very well on the organ. But it has to be done very, very well indeed. Yeah.
And it's not that easy.
I admire everyone really who does this, because it is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult to translate this universe to the organ universe. And I think it can be a beautiful work when you work on this, because you have to try a lot and you have to master absolutely the original version on the piano. So I can imagine that it can be an incredible work just to do it, to work with this piece. Yeah.
Yes, and I think that sometimes some people are just very ambitious and they want to play like the most difficult piece. I will play it on the organ.
Well, that can be an argument, but I don't think it's so. Well, what is difficult? That's the question. Also,
this is the question.
Also, Consolation, the third one. It can be so difficult to play it really beautifully. I mean, it takes 3 minutes, but what is the difficulty in the music? I think it's the same. The difficulty is to bring the absolute expression, no? I mean, to give everything and to find everything what is inside. And if it is 3 minutes or 30, I don't know. I don't see such a difference, to be very honest. Yeah. For me, it's the same. Yeah.
Yes, I remember when we were talking about something, I was asking you about my repertoire and asking for advice with choosing some piece. And then I said like, oh, this is easier than this. I think we were talking about Mendelssohn sonatas. And I said that, oh, this one is more difficult and this one is easier. And then you said like, don't say like that, because every sonata of Mendelssohn is easy and every sonata of Mendelssohn is difficult.
Exactly. I think
it was kind of new thought for me. So yeah, usually it's I rate music like, oh, this piece is easy and this piece is difficult.
Well, maybe it is the case. I don't know. For me, it's not. But I can imagine maybe, well, to study something like if you want to study B minor sonata, by Liszt or ad nos, of course, you have to take some weeks, or maybe some people only some days, but that's maybe question of time, of course, and of difficulty. But I at least assume that if someone wants to play this, then already the virtuosity is there, so there is no problem with technical stuff. But yeah, it's the question mostly of the deep approach. How far can we go? And there, so when we put this aside, that it's already learned, and the amount of time, then the approach to create something special, extraordinary of this music, that's then the work starts, the real work, and then every single piece is the same kind of. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you also about Jean Guillou, and not only his music, but how it was to be a student of Jean Guillou. And I know that he was a very special person for you, and I think it's wonderful to have this kind of professor. So I wanted you to tell us more about it. How was it?
Yeah, very special. But I think I speak also for all the students which were with me in the class continuously, because there were several master classes, as you know, first in Zurich, Tonhalle, and then in Paris, Saint-Eustache. So I hope I speak in name of all of them. It was very, very special, because, like, you know, you heard things which you never heard before. Simple, maybe, but it was simply like this. Everybody is influenced, of course. We came from different countries: Slovakia, Russia, France, Germany, Hungary. There certainly was also Polish people, I am sure, and we were all different and came from different professors and different schools, so to say. And suddenly we were faced with this genius who just has his own universe, and everything what he says is, this is what I believe. And well, then no arguments could stay, like, but in Germany we say like this, or somewhere else we say like this. Well, it was kind of weak in this situation. Like, you couldn't really cope with this. You had to become a musician who knows what he wants or she wants. And this was extraordinary, because for me it was so it was the first time probably in my life where I felt that actually it doesn't matter what I have learned or what was put in my head, like this is what you should believe, that I am actually a free person and I can express exactly what I need to express, and it will be right. This is first time that somebody told this to me. Well, of course, I was with very good teachers, and I'm very grateful for very wonderful teachers, and also my very first piano teacher, from whom I learned the Russian piano at school and approach. She was very, very great. But then, especially in the organ music, I want to say, because with pianists, it's not such a problem. When I was pianist, I had not these questions. But on the organ, suddenly, people told me, but you have to play Bach like this, you have to play Franck like this, you have to play. And for me as a pianist, it was like, why? Why? I want to play music, but I don't care. But then, of course, normally they put this stuff in your head, like this is to be played like this. And it's very interesting, because of course we have very wonderful tradition, and Aufführungspraxis is very great. I don't say it's nonsense. I learned a lot about Baroque rhetoric figures and everything. I really love this approach, because also articulation in the Baroque style, it's extremely rich and it's extremely wonderful. But only to be happy with a rule and apply it without being a musician who creates something, that's maybe not so good, because it's then we abandon a little bit our being a musician. And this is what I learned by Jean Guillou, that even though he mastered all of these rules, he was the first one who knew really everything. He played through the whole repertoire of music. And when he was young, he wanted just to know everything. So he played everything through. I don't know how it is possible, but he really knew about everything. Really, when he was 18, he decided to do this. And it was incredible when you spoke about Pachelbel, a small piece which nobody knows he knew it. But not so interesting. But then he decided to know everything, but to create then the own interpretation. And this is what makes it so extraordinary. And this is what I would like to keep going on also with my students, and not only students, but with everyone who I like and with whom I talk about music, like with you. I would like to encourage people that you have to know everything, but the most beautiful act and the most beautiful what you can give to other people is to give you your own, like your own soul, your own love to the music, and your own decision. Like, this is me, and this is what I can give. And well, this is the most beautiful. So maybe this is the most beautiful gift which we received from Zhang Yu as a teacher.
This is very inspiring for me, because this is what I think deeply desire in my heart, that I think I have something to say, I want to say this, and I think every musician have something like this. That's why we decide to play, to go to play a concert, because we think we have something to say for the audience.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
but then
Also
what
connect with other.
yes.
Yeah.
But then what we are taught at schools, sometimes it is really like, here we play like that. And I remember on one competition, I was with my friend, we were two from the same professor, and in my opinion, we were completely playing differently. Like, I know different characters, like I didn't like the way she was playing, I liked like my interpretation, and then we played one after another, and we have heard like, oh, like you can hear which from professor you are, both.
Oh.
And I was like, oh no, really? It's not possible.
Oh.
But then I think I was so into a school of playing that I didn't really know that about this influence. So why is it like that with organists? Because you said like a pianist, you didn't have this problem, and then how you think?
Yeah.
But why do you think, why the organists have this kind, or is it only the organist problem, or other instrumentalists as well?
I don't know. Probably it exists also because I think it exists a little bit in piano playing, and a little bit also with strings, where there are different schools. And nowadays, of course, they also try to play on historical instruments. And then I can imagine what I know from some colleagues, that there are different approaches. But I think organ is a little bit special, because I don't want to be mean or something, but organ is an extraordinary instrument because it covers so much. It hides so much. You can be a very bad player and you just put some wonderful stop, like, and you play and you don't have a touch or something, but it sounds beautiful because the organ is beautiful. And this is, maybe it is stupid what I'm saying, but I think a little bit that the organ is so kind to us, and it's such a wonderful, and because it's a queen, of course, it's a king of instruments, and it is generous, like Liszt was, like you was, and it makes it just sounding beautifully, even though maybe the musicality is not there, So you can use these rules very easily, because it is enough that you adapt this technical stuff, and it sounds very good. You win competitions, you do everything, it's perfect. But if I dare to say, if you put the same person on the piano, it doesn't forgive so much. It shows you exactly where the weak points are. And this is the beauty of the organ. And on the other side, why we have, maybe, but it's only my opinion, why we have also this not so famous, how do you say, roof. We have like a fame that we are not musicians. When you ask a pianist about organ, no, I don't like it. It is so unmusical. And I agree absolutely, because we tend to use it as a unmusical instrument, and with all these rules what I told, we risk to lose the connection that it is singing, it is breathing, it is really a musical instrument, but we have to give it to it. We have to create it. So reputation, that was the word. So we have a not very nice reputation between the musicians. Everyone is like, oh, not the organ, oh no. And this is a little bit pity, because it's not true. We have beautiful examples also nowadays of musicians who created beauty on this instrument, which is just incomparable. It's incredible. When you listen to musicians like Louis Vierne, Koshero, also of course younger generation, it is just incredible rich. And I think we could work on it, that the organ could become a little bit more like a musical instrument.
You touched a very interesting theme also with the Aufführungspraxis and the idea of playing Bach like in the Bach times. And it's very, I think for now, the historical, we say historically informed, I don't know the English word, but
yeah, I understand. Yeah,
I think it's a lot of people believe in it very, very deeply, and or in the competition, I think it's like on the organ competition, when you play Baroque music, it has to be done like that for most of jury members, I would say. This is what we were taught also, what I was taught during my studies. I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the future of this Richtung? Of this way?
I understand. Well, it is difficult because I was listening recently to, well, better said, watching a movie about this. Not really about this, but one sentence stayed with me. The person told, well, it was Zhang Yu, but he told, well, you know how quickly the mode changes. Yeah, the mode, la mode. Because he was speaking at the beginning of the 90s. So it was when the organ in Saint-Eustache was built. And he told already there, the transcription was like no-go. Nobody does transcription. And then he said, but suddenly c'est à la mode. Suddenly it's mode. So it changed so quickly. And this Aufführungspraxis was very in the mode like 10, 20 years ago. Now it is stagnating. Now people suddenly start to play romantic transcriptions again. So it are like waves for me, which will always continue. But we can also learn from it a lot, because I also learned from this very strict Aufführungspraxis approach, historically informed. It is interesting, and it is very good to know it, to know the instruments. It is very fascinating also, because there is a lot of information to know for us as organists. But I think it will always change, and it will come back, and something new will arise. And this is the beauty also of the interpretation. And for me, it is the dangerous point also for an interpreter to decide what is my strongest point. If it is Baroque music, I will focus on it, and I will really know everything about this. And if it is romantic, I stay to it, and I really believe this is my way, and I will do it, because otherwise we are just not to be trusted.
Yes, this is very important, I think. And I remember my professor in Wrocław, my first teacher, who was like the generation before, because he was born in 1940. So when we met, he was already old, and he was laughing of the old music interpreters. And he said to me, like, what to study old music? Like, make one recital with old music and then play normal music, romantic stuff. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. My next question is about church music. we talked before that there is some people who say you're a church organist or you're a concert organist, but some people combine these two stuff, or for some of them, like you have to play in the church to be an organist. What do you think about this, and what is your experience with the liturgical music?
Well, for me, it is extremely important because I feel that in the church music there is a huge heritage, not only of organ music, but especially in the organ music. And I feel that we have a huge responsibility for this, to carry it on to the next generations and to the future. So for me personally, it is a very important moment. And I also played in the monastery for more than 7 years, which gave me a lot of inspiration, especially the touch with the Gregorian chant, which I love extremely. And this is also the case of, for example, Jean Guillou or his teacher, Marcel Dupré, who played Gregorian chant every day, almost, and lived from it, kind of. You can see it, you can hear it in the music. And I think this will never disappear. Organ will always be connected with church. And also, I see the future of the concert instrument organ as a very important step. And this is what Jean Guillou was fighting for. And I think he created a lot of very good ways. And nowadays, people think a little bit differently, that organ is also on the same level a concert instrument. And this is interesting for me how it is developing now, because suddenly there are a lot of concert organs in concert halls built new, and it is beautiful development. And I hope it will continue because it's very, very important. But still, it will always be these two faces, and these beautiful two faces of the organ. And I'm extremely grateful that I could be very deeply connected with the church, especially with the Benedictine Abbey in Vienna, because I really I took a lot from this huge tradition. And I still encourage people to stay in this connection, because it is very beautiful one, and historically, of course, very interesting and important. We wouldn't have the organ without the church, even though it was created outside of church. We all know that it was actually a very, how do you say, weltlich instrument. So it didn't start in the church. That's a mistake. Huh? The organ was invented by Greeks, and it was actually played to destroy the first Christian people. Really, it was well, you have to read about this, but it is not a church instrument in the first moment of its creation. But afterwards, it became like a messenger of the church. And this is a very interesting and controversial situation, that an instrument like this, very connected to the world, comes to the church and becomes, in the 14th century only, very late, a representative instrument of the church. I mean, it is extraordinary, and this could be inspiration for us, like it was also for Jean Guillou, for example, that the church is there and the instrument is there, and we can also take the instrument outside of the church, but it will always be like two faces of one instrument, and it is beautiful for me. Like him, for example, some people say he was only a star, concert star or something, but it's not true. He was playing every Sunday in St. Eustache, listening to the lectures, to the Lesungen, and he was improvising about this. He was always interested in what is happening in the church, and not to speak about the fact that in front of him there was still, when he played upstairs, this beautiful inscription, Soli Deo Gloria, which he was looking to every Sunday. So who knows?
You said you played 7 years in Benedict Monastery. Where it was?
It was in Vienna. It was the Benedictine Abbey of Vienna. Yeah. So the monks who were singing every day the Vespers,
Okay.
and I played it, and it was of course sung in a Gregorian chant, but I accompanied them. It's a different tradition. Sometimes also in France you have Gregorian chant which is not accompanied at all, but in some abbeys there is a tradition that we accompany this.
Okay.
And I learned it and I liked it very much. Dupré did this also very often, and Jean Guillou also, and a lot of French organists. Well, everybody learns it at the conservatory, and they can accompany Gregorian chant. And this is something completely different to accompany a choral or a normal song. It's a very different style of interpretation and accompaniment.
This is true.
Yeah.
We have a question, so I would read it because maybe it's interesting. There is a question about the freedom of interpretation that Jean Guillou was teaching. And there is a question if he has put some information for organists, like registrations tempo in his pieces, if he was writing, like which tempo, which registration to use in his music.
Yes, I have some scores here just to look at. Normally, it is quite clearly written. I don't know if you can see it. I will try to. This is the beginning of Eloge. Can you see it?
Yes, yes.
So you can see of other direction. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
You can see clearly written. There is flûte 4, donc flûte 4, and solo tremolo. So it is very clearly written. Later on, there is corps de bassette, so or clarinet with pedal fondation, so foundation, and everything is very clearly written down in his own pieces. But also he gave, at least what I can tell from my experience, he gave a lot of freedom to myself. I had sometimes other ideas. I don't like so much very high stops. So I several times asked him that I have another idea there, and I would like to make it more soft, because I had this, what I told before, I said I had this vision of romantic in his pieces, and he was very happy about this. So you can also very freely change this. I am sure he would be the first one who would say, just do what you feel is the best. It's an indication, and in some pieces he's very free. He says only crescendo, or crescendo with waltz, or he says only very soft, and then it is on you to decide what to take. This was very different with the repertoire, because the question was also about repertoire. There he had very clear ideas about, this is what I really want there to have. You can agree, or you can say, no, I have another idea. That's always possible. But it is a little bit strange, but in the repertoire he was much more strict, but was always looking for the right registration. So first expression, what do I want to express? And then instrumentation, like an orchestra. What would a conductor say for a trio sonata? I would like to hear first, second, and third voice in a perfect balance. And what would a conductor say? Shall I take oboe, flute, and violoncelle, or will I turn it around? Will I give it octave higher, that I have the harmonic tones? What do I want to create? And there he was very strict. He was looking for registrations for a long time, sometimes, just to create this. And this is very inspiring. But of course, you can always choose what you prefer. But I think the will was there to create absolute orchestra sound. So better said, a musical sound. So not only organ. And I see what is written, and some people came to the masterclass and just saw the organ in Saint Eustache for the first time. And the first thing what they did was 8-4-2. for the Bach partita. And he was standing there like, what are you doing? You never heard this organ before. How can you know how it sounds? And on which manual? And then he started to create, just for the beginning of the Bach partita, 1/8 foot stop. How does it sound? Is it enough? Maybe it is already enough for the choral. So do you know something more? Do you want a 4/4? Okay, let's try this one. Let's try this one. How does it sound? What does it really create? Is it really a 4? Or is it actually a 2? Because of the harmonic tones which are creating. And so that was a little bit more strict, a little bit more heavy also to understand. But after some time, you can learn a lot. And yeah, it is fascinating. Yeah.
On Schlagorgan with Bach.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I hope I answered enough. I don't know if there is another.
Okay. When you said about Bach partita and the choral, I imagined Schlagorgan and registrations like tick, tick, tick.
Exactly. But on the Schlagorgan, it is beautiful anyhow, huh?
Yes.
Doesn't make such a difference.
There is a question if Alus will continue record all the pieces of Rangiu.
Yes, yes. This is well, it is not even secret anymore because I changed the label from MDG, from the very important and great house in Germany. I changed to Eolus. The cooperation is really wonderful, and Christoph Roman is a perfect person for me. He is a great organist. He is a fantastic sound engineer, so he hears everything. Well, it can be also dangerous sometimes. Or he hears he listens and he hears every mistake, everything. But well, good. He's just a very great person, and he supports me a lot. We work on a fantastic base together. We understand each other very good. So he is the chef, the leader of Eolus. And he did also this recording in Paris with me. And he did a lot of videos. He is a fantastic photographer. Also, he has eye, not only ears, but eye also to make videos wonderfully. And I hope that we will manage. It depends also a little bit of finances, of course. We have to find the resources ourselves. So, but I have a good hope, and I hope also Christoph will agree and will continue with me and Eolus, because I feel very, very well with them, and the project is very close to my heart, not only because of my teacher, but because I love this music very much. So the next CD should be in Germany on the organ which Zhang Yu liked very much, in Ratingen, with probably with Mozart transcriptions and pieces of Zhang Yu. So finger crossed that it will we will manage and we can continue together. It would be our dream of Eolus and of mine. Yeah.
Oh, this is great. And about the project, because you said the word finances, so I will tell to everyone that there is a crowdfunding to get the money to help this CD to come to the world, because it is recorded, but it has to be produced, and it's now in the production. And now I'm putting the link of the crowdfunding, so I recommend to everyone to click on it and read more about the project. There is many possibilities to support the CD and to get the CD with the autograph of yours, because everyone who will support this project with more than 50 euros will get the CD with autograph. So I think for the music lovers, it's really something very special. And I'm very happy that I could help a bit with this crowdfunding action, because we were working together on the so-called awards for different amounts of support. And I think it's already 35%. Yes, do I remember well?
Yeah.
35%. And it is still. Oh, now you can see it. Yes, here. Or okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I did. So when we click there, we can read more about it, and there's still 25 or 24 days. Yes,
Yeah, 24 days to go. Yeah.
Yeah. So we still have time. So I invite everyone, if it's the right moment, I invite everyone to support the CD, and also to read and to listen more about this, because in this link you can also watch a video about the project and read more about the music and about the instrument, because it's also very interesting.
Yeah, and I would like to say thank you also for Zuzana, because, well, I am not such a, how do you say, once after a concert, after a concert in Italy, the president of the society told me, like, you just cannot sell yourself. So I cannot sell myself, so I couldn't really do this. And Zuzana helped me a lot to understand how it works, how to create a crowdfunding project, and how to approach people. And I'm very grateful that I could learn this. And I hope I still improve, kind of. And I'm also grateful that I could be here with you now. And yeah, would be really happy if we could stay in connection, and also via music, via this new CD, and just hope to see you again, or maybe in Svidnica, who knows, somewhere.
Yes, I hope very much that we will meet soon, not only on the phone and on the internet. I was very happy to hear already 3 times your concerts in Świdnica, and we are very honored that we could hear your music, your interpretations on the Schlag organ in Świdnica, and our beautiful romantic instrument.
It's really beautiful. It's such a beautiful instrument. This is it touches your heart. It's beautiful, really.
Thank you. So thank you very much for this time here online. I see that all the time someone was watching us, so it was not only us talking to each other. So I'm very happy. Thank you very much for all the YouTubers that were with us. Zapraszam Zuzanę. So there's already invitation to Katowice, to the new NOSPR. NOSPR is the National Orchestra in Katowice. There is a beautiful new organ.
I heard about it. Yeah, I heard about it. Should be beautiful. Yeah.
So I assume that we have someone from Katowice talking with us, because I don't know who is Mark Biern, not Louis Biern. So greetings to Katowice. Thank you very much.
Nice name, anyhow.
Yes. Okay. So I keep fingers crossed for your project, for this CD, and for the continuing of the project, for all the music of Zhang Yu, and for all your future projects and concerts. And I hope to meet you soon and to see you soon. And yeah, all the best. And thank you all for watching us. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks.